Okay, I think maybe we should just continue now, since we can't, we have limited time to spend here. Okay, so where did I stop? We stopped at the point where AP is already 2. And so because AP is 2, it still goes inside this loop, and 2 will be printed. If you look at your console right now, 2 is not printed yet. But immediately we pass this line, 2 will be printed. So to move, I'll press F8. And if you check your console, you can see that 2 is printed. Okay, so now this is the interesting point that we need to note. When it now performs the deduction, AP becomes what? When you check your debugger, AP becomes 1. And so it checks the condition again. Is 1 greater than or equals to 2? It says no. So once that is not possible, it does not enter this this block of statement anymore. It just terminates at that point. So that is the beauty of a while loop. So like I said, so this is done. So we debugged in order for us to be able to see how this is carried out step by step. So it's very important when you are writing your applications or building something, you might come across a need or have a need to be able to use this construct or this form of looping. So it's very important you know it. So like I said, I can copy this guy out for us. Okay, it cannot be copied. You can use this to test the factorial method and see how it works. And you can easily do this or formulate something on your own that you can work with. Okay, so that's while loop. Let's go to the next one. But remember, the keyword is a while loop checks first before it performs. It will not perform anything if this condition is not true. But for a do while loop will perform first before it checks. Let's go to that one. Okay, so what's the do while? A do while conditions is checked at the loop end, that is at the end. Remember, this one checks on top, but that one will check at the end. So the syntax is do a lot of things. Close it. Do, when you do, and then you check while. Okay. So you do the check here. So for example, let's continue using this. We just copy this and put here. Okay, so that we still use the same construct. So the statement is do. Whatever you put in here will be done, blah, blah, blah. Then later it will now check while this is this. So that means it will have done this once before it does the check. So let's copy and paste our code inside there, because it's the same thing we want to perform, but we just want to see. If you remember the output from here, the output from here was 5432, right? 5432. Let's see the output that this other guy would give us. Sorry. Yeah. Let's see the output that this other guy will give us, which is a do while. So we have a do while loop and we have a while loop. Like I said, do will perform once before it does its check or its condition. But while we'll just do what? We'll check first and evaluate the condition if it's true before it performs. So let's do this. In between, I want to show that, okay, I don't like typing too much. I'm so used to copying and paste. Okay, so let's say entering. I just wanted to leave a line. Okay, so let's do this. So here it's going to print everything here, and it will print this on the screen too, and leave a line, then start printing this. So now there's an error in what I'm writing now. I wish somebody could see it. There's something missing here. I'm supposed to do something in here. I don't know if anybody can see it, but let's run it we'll all see it together. But I already know there's something wrong because this variable, something is going to happen to this variable. Let's go. So I would, instead of debug, I will run it. So we'll check our console. It says enter the number. I'm entering 5. Okay. So see what I said was wrong. 5, the upper while loop printed 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So at the point when it stopped, AP was what? 2. That's when it stopped here, right? So it is the 2 that now entered into this place. Okay. Are we following? So sorry, it is not the 2. It has printed 2, and it will have done this subtraction. So it's now 1, right? So it's the 1 that enters into this place. So 1 is printed, then we have 1 minus 1. So AP becomes 0. Immediately AP becomes 0, we are checking is 0 greater or equals to 2, which is no. Then the application stops. But it has already printed 1 out. So the mistake I said is there is I was hoping somebody would point out is that I'm supposed to say that probably reinitialize AP to probably 5 here, so that we still have AP as 5 because 5 is what we are entering. But this is just an example, so this is not a good way, but it's just an example because we don't actually know what the user is going to enter. So I'm assuming it's 5. Okay, but because I'm the one testing it, I know it's 5, I will enter. That's why I'm doing this. So what I'm expecting to see here is not just 1. I'm expecting to see it to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 instead of 5, 4, 3, 2 that the while loop did. Okay, so let's run this. Let's see.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
My question is, when it asks enter a number, did you enter the number on the console?
Yes, I did. I entered the number of the console. This is what enabled me. The scanner is a means of doing an input into the system. So when it's saying enter a number, as you can see, I'm going to enter 5. I can start to enter 10 or whatever, since it's integer I'm expecting. But if I don't enter an integer, if I enter string, I'm going to get an error. Okay. Because I've said that it is the next int is what I want. So it's expecting an integer and I'm casting it into what? An integer. So I must always enter an integer, else I'm going to get an error like this. So let's run it again. Yes. So enter a number, I want to enter 5. So let's see what will happen. Okay, so let's see what happens here. Guess this thing is not correct. Let's see. So what happened? AP becomes 5 back. It printed 5. Let's see it. It printed 5 and then does the reduction. It printed 4, does the reduction. It printed 3, does the reduction to 2. Okay, then it printed 2, does the reduction to 1. And we have this. Okay, I think it's correct. They are doing the same thing. Let's see. For us to be sure, all we need to do is to debug. Okay, and let's see how it happens step by step, so that you can know when you use a do while and you know when you use a while. So let's run it step by step and see. I'll see entering 5 so that we can have consistency. Okay, so at this point, our AP is 5. So what does it do? It prints out 5. So we have the 5 there, and it performs the subtraction. The debugger becomes 4. It performs the check. Is 4 greater than or equals to 2? It should be true. So it goes back up and prints what? 4. 4 will be printed out. So it performs the deduction again. And when it does the deduction, AP becomes 3. It checks. Is 3 greater than or equals to 2? Yes. It goes up. And it's going to print the 3 now. Okay, so it printed the 3. Let's go back. AP is now 3. It's going to perform a subtraction now. Then AP becomes 2. At this point, it comes back and say, is 2 greater than or equals to 2? Yes, because we have the equals to there. So what will it do? It goes back up. Let's see our console. And it will print what? 2. Are you getting it now? So now it prints the 2, and then we move ahead. Now it's at this point, it's now checking. What is AP? 1. Is AP greater than or equals to 2? So it is false. So obviously, it's the same output because now it's checking at this bottom. And at the end of the day, we are going to have, because this is negative now, so it's not going to go up again. Let's see. It ends automatically because it has checked that 1, which is the current value of AP, you can see here, is not greater than 2. And so it stops the execution. So at the end of the day, what do we have? The same thing. Okay, so it's fine. But what we should get from here is that the do while will do what? Print or execute before checking condition. Whereas the while will do what? Check condition before executing. Okay, so they did a valid example here. I don't want to use this example. We might decide to use it where they set I value to 150 and then they started doing a multiplication around it and then checking for the while. So you might probably want to try that out or find more examples. But for our time, the essence of this is just for you to know how to use all these syntax. Okay, so we'll be going to for loop now. Any question? No question. So we'll move to the next. For loop. So for loop is a bit different. You know, when we'll be doing all this, we didn't declare any variable. All we've been doing is we accepted an input and then we are just printing out the values. But for loop has a definite syntax, and the syntax is you type a for, and in your for, you need to put an initializer, which means that what is the first value that we are starting our count from, right? So we initialize the variable there, and after I would say what is the end value or the condition, okay? And then when we have the condition, then we now check what is the increment, okay? So now, for example, we can say in this example, so when the user enters AP, we can say we are starting for what? For int. So you must always declare whatever integer you want to use. I can say int I equals to 1. Then there will be a separator called your semicolon. So this int I equals to 1 is your initialization. Okay, you are initializing the variable I to a 1, just like you are declaring a variable. This is the format. Then the next thing you want to check, remember, what are we checking? We are checking that if AP is what? Is greater or equals to 2. Okay, so when we see this, that is when we want to stop. Let's see how that works for us. So say I, how do I put it now? This will not work because we need to check. It's either when we are looping it, we are either increasing the value of I. Okay, so let's do it this way. I would say I less than I less than, let me put AP dot no, let me not use AP because I'm not working with arrays. So let me just put I less than 5. Okay, and I'll say I will explain that later. Then I'll say I plus plus. Okay, so again, I'm going to ask this question. Do we understand what I plus plus is? What will I plus plus do? Does anybody understand what I plus plus does? I explained it in last class.
I think it's addition.
it just increments I by 1. That's what it is.
Okay.
Yes, it will just increment I by 1. So what I'm saying is that, let's say for example, we just want to print hello 5 times. Okay, so I want to print hello 5 times. I'll say print. Let's print. We're not in Pascal. So we're not in Python. Print line. Okay. So please let's just comment out all this so that they will not be executed. So I'm saying print hello 5 times. The first time it will be 1, it will print. I cannot say I minus equals to 1. Let's see. No, I don't need to do this. Let's save it like this. This is not a while loop. Okay, so let's print this and see how many times. It's going to do it 1. It's printed 1 because this is 1. Once it's printed, it increments I to 2. So it comes back and prints it 2. It comes back here and increment I to 3. So it comes back and prints it the 3rd time. It comes here and increments I to 4. It comes back and prints it the 5th time. Then the 4th time. Then it comes back and increments I to 5. Then it checks this condition. Is I less than 5? 5 cannot be less than 5, so it stops and it will not execute anything again. So for us to indicate the stopping, let's just put loop completed, just to put a print something like for successful. Yeah. All right, so let's see. Let's run this. Later we'll debug and also see how this works one by one. Put the number, I want to put 5. Let's put the same 5. Okay, so now it asks me, oh, I'm not supposed to even do this part. Anyway, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so let's see. What happened is that, let's put a debug here and run it. So we'll be checking the value of I and how it's printing this guy each time. Whatever I enter here doesn't matter because I'm not using it. So now I is 1 at this point because that's what we initialize it for. I is equals to 1 and 1 is less than 5, right? So at that point, it has not printed anything, right? So when you press next, it does the printing. It prints hello world one time. Then at this point, it's going to increment I. So this was checked first. This was done first. Int I is equals to 1. Then it does the condition and checks the condition. If the condition is true, it goes on and executes the statement. Then it comes back and increments what? I to 2. So this I plus plus is incrementing I by 1. So when we do this, we see that I becomes what? 2. This I plus plus has done its work. You can see. Okay, so I becomes 2. It does the printing. So when you check your console, you see hello world printed twice. So at this point, I is 2. It will increment I again, and I becomes what? 3. Let's go on. So while it's incrementing I, it's also checking is I less than 5. 3 is still less than 5. So as long as this condition here is true, it goes into the block of code and executes it again. So we get it printed. So it has printed how many times now? 3 times. Whereas what is the value of I? 3. So now at this point, it's still going to increase I. We'll move on. And it increased I to 4. It also does the check. Is 4 less than 5? Yes. It goes on. Now it has printed how many times? 4 times. Hello world. At this point, I is 4. It's going to do this. It's going to try to do this increment once I do my next. So immediately it does the increment. You see that I becomes you can't see the value of I here anymore because automatically I becomes 5 and it will have done 5 less than 5, which is not possible. So it breaks out of this block of code and then says that whatever is completed. So that is the number of times it runs. So, but when it comes to an array, I would tell us most of the time when we're doing for array, we put I equals to 0. But when we get there, I will explain what it is. So this is how to use a for loop. You have another example printed here, whereby they compare the while and the for, and how both of them work. But exactly this. So I would like to ask, what did I call this? Can someone tell me? That thing in the middle, what did I call it? I think I'm alone in this space. Is anybody following?
Yes.
So what did I call that? I less than 5. Who remembers?
Is it the AP?
You can see, can you see my mouse moving?
Yes. Condition.
Yes. I said that int I equals to 1 is the initialization. So you initialize the variable, okay? Then you check the condition and then you perform the increment. And so based on this, I debugged one by one so that we could see how this is done. And that's what we just did. So when I is 1, it prints, it checks the condition and prints. Then it comes back, increment, check the condition, print. Comes back, increment, check the condition, print. Comes back, increment, check the condition, print. If the condition is no longer true, it does what? It exits the loop and continue from the next statement. So that is all about for loop. So I think that is clear. At this point, before I go to array, I'm going to give us a classwork right now. Okay. So I've taught you while loop. I've taught you do while and also for loop. So the assignment is this. Not assignment, the classwork is this. Write a program to print numbers from 1 to 20 on the screen. Okay, so I give us 10 minutes to do this. And whoever is sure of his answer, when you are done, just put your answer in the chat. Put your answer here. I'll copy it and I'll run it. Do we understand? Are we together?
Yes, we shall try.
Yeah. Please, I want us to be fast because we have a couple of other things to cover. All these ones are still, we have to go into going deep. That is where we are going today. So all these ones are still fundamentals. Like the course said, Java fundamentals. So these are Java fundamentals. But the main fundamental is what we want to get to today. So quickly, I'm giving us 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Let's just do this. Use whatever you want. Either you want to use a for loop, or you want to use a do, or you want to use a while loop. Whichever one you want, you can use. Should I copy all this format for you so that in case you want to copy and paste or something? Or you are fine?
I think it's better you copy for us.
Okay, let me just comment them. Okay, let's go. Put it in there.